Damn! That's the note he goes out on? That's how Dennis gets written out? This really fun, interesting character. That's how he goes out? Oh my god. Like, if you couldn't tell, I actually did like this, the way they did it. I just finished the episode like 2 minutes ago, so, oh man, like, I did not see that coming. I genuinely was not expecting that. Like, the way he just goes out at the end there, because again, you figure Dennis is probably going to go to the end, and if he does go out, it's going to be more heroic than this. But this is basically, I can't go anywhere, so I might as well just kill myself. Like, man. Wow. Okay, so first up, let's get started. We'll get more onto that in a minute. But this episode was basically everything we assumed it was going to be. It was Kaito versus Dennis while showing off a new Galaxy Eyes monster. Hopefully, that'll be the cover card to the set after Invasion of Venom, as I think it's not fair that Scarlet Red Dragon Arch-V got his own set, and Dystopia Guy, and the Cyber Angels, and Cypher Dragon did not, even though I'd argue they're much more relevant to the plot. But that's a rant for another day. Essentially, what I really liked about this episode is, I like Dennis a lot, and the actor who plays Dennis really is what made this episode work, because the duel, it was exciting, it was fun, it was really good, but the star of this episode, at the end of the day, was Dennis, and more importantly, it was the actor playing Dennis. Every time Dennis opened his mouth this time, you just felt the playfulness and sort of the way the guy likes to, just all the elements of the character, like the entertainment aspect, the playfulness, sort of the darkness in him, the good in him, all of this really came through in this episode, which is good because the animation for this one is not Yu-Gi-Oh's best. I kind of got the feeling halfway through that the budget for this one wasn't as good as the rest, because if you'll notice, no one really moves in this episode. Everything is very stagnant, everything is very standstill. The only thing you see moving are clouds. Even with Kaito, like, his expression never changed. And granted, Kaito is never happy, but he sort of had this same kind of half-interested, half I gotta go take a dump look. Or at least that's just the way I saw it. And even with Dennis, he just had the same expression the whole time. But just the way the actor plays him. I mean, look, I prefer more movement, especially when you get into characters like Yuri, who are constantly moving, constantly, like, having fun with how evil they are. I would have liked a little bit of that here. But I did think the actor brought so much to the episode, especially when you consider the setup is not very good on our hero's perspective. Like, we're gonna board this cruise ship that we assume is going to Academia. They never flat out say where this ship is going. And then we're gonna endanger everyone on the ship. And we're just lucky Dennis doesn't really seem to be into massive violence. Otherwise, they would have been screwed, even though he was okay blowing up half a stadium. Okay, when you really think about Dennis's character, there's a lot of things that contradict each other. But, all in all, I really enjoyed having this character in the show, and also the new Galaxy Eyes monster. Really over the top and ridiculous, but man, was it fun to watch. But, all in all, I really liked Dennis as a character and what he contributed to this show. I liked an entertainment duelist who I thought brought the concept of entertainment dueling further than Yugioh. I thought he was creepy, I thought he was interesting, I thought everything about this character worked, which made his departure actually emotionally effective. I actually felt, like I said, I felt sorry for the guy. And also, a thing I like is it's a direct contrast to last week, where the lunatic who had given into Academia and all that, when Yuma stopped him, everything was fine, everything was happy, he can go home, he's all better now. This time around, it sort of reinforces that concept of consequences, because there is no way for Dennis. I mean, look, I'm sure, knowing Yugioh, considering all he's done, yeah, he probably would have accepted him back. But the thing about Dennis is that he's been brought up in just all this screwed upness with Academia, that he can't bring himself to contemplate that idea of going back. And he can't go back to Academia, he just betrayed him. And it's sort of that idea that, at the end of the day, even though, yes, he was on Academia's rules, and I always speculated Dennis was going to be a double agent, or a triple agent, I guess, but he never really was, which is fine, because it was sort of this idea that, even though he was on Academia's side, he fulfilled their wishes, he really was in it for, he really did things his own way, and he thought his own way, and he did things like that. So because of this, I could see him betraying them, I could see him feeling guilty about betraying Yugioh, and I'm glad we didn't waste too much time on that. Like, I half expected it to be like, I want to go back. Like, no, he accepts all of this. He understands all of this. And he knows that this is his fate. This is the direction he's going in. Like, when he's going back on the ship like that and Yugioh's trying to save him, oh my god, that was so good. Just the whole thing, I thought, really worked. And I just thought it was really good. And it made for a really solid finish and really stuck the landing. And I thought it just made for a great episode and a very good send-off for a character who really, at his core, deserved it. But what did you think? In the comments section below, give me your thoughts on this episode. And also, the TCG question of the week. Now, apparently, the Nationals or the European WCQ, or I really don't know how it works. I don't keep up with it that much. First place was Draco Pals. Well, that's interesting. That's nice and different. I really like that. But what do you think that means? Because Pendulums have kind of been sort of in the middle lately. They haven't been too strong, too weak. Do you think that could affect a potential ban list, or what do you just think of that? Or are you ready for Worlds and all that? But as always, click to like and click to subscribe. Oh, and also, I'm going to try and get it done tomorrow. I am officially starting up a new YouTube channel that is all card game replays and stuff like that. It's either going to be called something like either Card Game Comedy or Kevin Plays. I'll finalize all this tomorrow. It's going to be mostly Card Fight Vanguard for the next couple of weeks because my Vanguard Regionals for us New Yorkers is actually on the 7th or the 6th or whatever the first Saturday of the month is. So I'm mostly focusing on Vanguard right now. But before we go, here's a little taste.
Shut up! You wouldn't have drawn a trigger. Shut up!